What is up, guys? Jake from OneHive here with the next Coffee and Clash video. Hope you guys are having a great start to your weekend. There's all kinds of stuff going on this weekend. We got Vainglory EU stuff. We've got obviously arranged wars all over the place. It's always fun on the weekend, so hope you guys are having a great time. As always, please leave me some questions in the comment section of this video so that we can have more for future videos. Let's get to the questions though. Banjo Sam with our first one. What if you streamed Coffee and Clash? People would get up, grab a cup of coffee, hang out, and ask questions. It would be a fun discussion and would be another good way to connect with, the common folk. Yeah, man, that's sort of what my streams are. I don't know if you guys have caught them before. Obviously, it's not in the morning, but when I'm streaming Clash, it's been described as a Ninja Live / Coffee and Clash. I mean, that's what it is. We're waiting for live attacks. Well, I'm answering questions. It's just all that. So if you haven't checked it out, I mean, and that sounds appealing to you, then come, for sure, come try to check one out. There'll be one this weekend, maybe tonight, if not, definitely tomorrow at the end of the war. So come hang out. Fred Lee, I don't know if that is how you'd say that. You said buying accounts doesn't affect someone else's play, and that's why it's okay within fair play. How does botting affect your experience? That's a fair question, but there's a pretty simple answer to it. There are only so many bases out there, and you need loot, I need loot, hardcore farmers won't loot, even trophy pushers, they gotta have loot. Everyone's gotta have loot. And if you are simply turning on your computer or I don't even know how they bot, if it's on the iPad or if it's a computer they hook it up to, whatever, and you can, farm 24/7 essentially, and take those bases that we are all competing for. And the way the bots work, where you can, put in the information of only get the best bases. Obviously, that affects mine and everyone else's gameplay. When I'm trying to grind up and farm, there's not as many good bases out there because of botters. And that's, again, simple answer to a simple question. Is that it just directly affects my experience and it affects everyone's experience, whether they're farmers or pushers or war guys. So, it's just, you have to look at it when you look at something like that. There's no way that you can say that buying an account affects your experience or my experience or anyone else's. It doesn't. That account's there, and someone farmed it up, someone created it, someone spent the time on it. Or the money, and so it's it is what it is. Whether the person that did it is playing it or someone else is playing it is kind of irrelevant. But when you have somebody that can do something unnatural and can take all the best bases when the rest of us have to sleep occasionally, it's just not fair. Everyone knows that. But again, pretty simple answer. Polar Bear asks a question. How did you learn hybrid strategies? I started doing hogs plus dragons when I hadn't watched a single video on it. Did someone teach you or did you do it yourself? That's a great question, man. That's what's kind of cool is that the channel, it never was intended for this, but the channel kind of serves as a history book of Clash War and of hybrid attacks, where they came from. If you go back to the start and see the attacks we're doing, there was a lot of go wee wees. There was a lot of go wipes. There was a lot of that crap. But then there was a little bit of some, even back before a golem was even used. I remember putting out one of the first how-to hog videos explaining how to use a golem to get to the queen and to kill the queen. And it was very sloppy and rudimentary, but, that was a revolutionary thing. And it just comes about people trying stuff. It was just innovation. A lot of people out there tell you that all the modders created that stuff. It's bullcrap. You can go back to my channel and you can see when it was created. You can see what happened. Clans like Reddit Troopers, when they were fair play, they were coming up with some things. We were coming up with some things. Some of those original hardcore war clans each sort of put their little hand in the pot, and these attacks came out of it. Back before golems were even used, it was we used witches occasionally to try to get to the queen. We called it the witch trick, but you could only do it if the queen was super exposed or just right there on that one level of walls. But people quickly learned how to defend that. You put the queen deeper inside the base. Well, then somehow it came around, and I think Rex was the one that really brought it to our attention of using the golem to get in there, and think about how that's changed the game. It's spread through basically every attack that we do in a war. So it was just a slow, steady process of innovation, of learning, of testing and refining. And again, back when the channel started, man, if you go back to those early videos, no one else was doing it. We ran into no clans that knew how to do these attacks that we were doing. As simple as dragon funnels. There was a big myth that dragons were uncontrollable back, when wars first started. People wouldn't use them. They're like, oh no, they do stupid stuff. They got a mind of their own. But we explained funneling, and it was a way that people had never looked at the game. They had never looked into that strategy. And again, it was just a slow, steady process. And you would see an attack, and you'd say, "Oh, that I like that. Let me try that with this," and you would tweak it. And then all of a sudden, someone had a few balloons at the end of their attack, and it was like, "Oh my God, that worked great." And then maybe a few hogs, and it just slowly evolved into what it is today. But it all happened sort of one step at a time, and it was kind of neat to be involved in that. So I think it was a great question. Tom Thompson. Hey Jake, love your channel. The reason why I can do 3-star attacks. Awesome, man. Good job. Keep it up. To my question, doesn't the feature to look at the war log allow you to visit a random enemy example OneHive of the last 2 to 3 days and look at your attacks in your base and see the traps and so on? Maybe even 3-star Town Hall 10 if it was good enough. Cheers from Switzerland. Yeah, man. I mean, I suppose for someone that wants to try to do that, they can. The thing is, if we have a tough war, and you can tell, I mean, we can give most clans our bases, like, here's our bases, here's the traps, and it won't change a thing. But the ones that it would matter, we know. When the war starts, we know. We can tell by their bases, by their hero levels, by a lot of things, their wins. There's a lot of things. Even their troop levels is a good hint to how good people are at war. And if that's the case, we use new bases anyways. So they're not going to, going back and looking at that's not going to help them at all. Our warlock has always been public because I do recaps on them. So us having it public is no big deal. Really not concerned about it. I guess some clans might be, but I think everybody should have it public. If you get in a tough war and you know it's going to be a tough war, have a new base. It's not that hard. Oscar Romo, do you think strategies we use was the way Supercell intended for us to use the troops? Some probably not. I don't think that Supercell or anyone, I don't think I could conceive every possible use that someone out there creatively could come up with to do an attack. When the Lava Hound came out, I mean, I was on record saying it's worthless. It'll never be used for anything besides possibly luring a difficult clan castle. And look what someone came up with. So, no, I don't think they know exactly what we're going to do with it. And that's why sometimes I have to tweak it. When war started and people were hogging everything and 3-starring everything, as a Town Hall 8, you could 3-star pretty much any Town Hall 9. It was crazy, and they had to go back and tweak it. And they've had to do that several times with different troops. So I don't think they foresee everything. I don't think you can test something like that at the level that 1 million, 2 million, 10 million people are going to test it. You just can't do it. Now, there's been times that I think they released things that were obvious or that weren't tested even well enough there. But in general, they have to give a good idea, a good concept, and put it out there and see what the people do with it, because it's insane. I mean, people are very creative, people are very smart, and they take it and they run with it. And it's pretty fun to watch, actually. Just like the bowlers and the miners. That's all going to be the baby dragon. It's all going to be fun to figure out see how people figure out how to use these troops. So no, I don't think they foresee all of our strategies. Kyle Jasinski. What's your farming army looking like these days? Man, I just switched it, actually. For a long time, right after I hit Town Hall 10, I dropped down in trophies real far, and I did Barch. And the loot, people talked about how great the loot was down there. I just didn't find it. Yeah, I had some good bases, but man, it was tough to get Dark Elixir, which is really what I'm always after. And it just, I don't know, it didn't blow me away. So slowly I climbed back up in trophies. I'm getting close, I think, now back to Masters. And I'm doing Super Queen again. I'm trying to avoid Town Hall 10s with, especially with very high level Inferno towers. But, if you search a few times, you can find either a high Town Hall 9, because of, I'm a new Town Hall 10, so I still find some decent Town Hall 9s. And you just go for the dark, same way as always. You try to avoid it, do what you got to do, grab that Dark Elixir, and of course you're going to find some dead bases and get plenty of golden elixir. So it's working out for me. I think Super Queen is still a very effective strategy, even at my level. COC Monster. Hey, Jake, love the vid. Short and simple question. Who made the OneHive logo and was it purchased? No, it was not purchased. It was actually a fan, one of you guys, basically. I think he still plays Clash. In fact, I need to go over there. I told him I would do a hitchhiker for his clan. I've got to get over there and do it for him sometime because he just hit me up one day. I was making some T-shirts and letting sort of the viewers help me with some designs on T-shirts. And he was just like, man, he's in graphic design. And he was just like, I feel like I need to give you a real logo, and did it. And I was blown away. And people that do it for a living have been like, dude, that's yeah, that would be expensive for someone to do. So I've always been very grateful to that. I've got a lot of use out of it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Mad Rock, hey, Jake, I want to hear your thoughts about this. I just read the news that Supercell wants to enter the esports, but I'm a bit disappointed because they are focusing more on the potential of Clash Royale than Clash of Clans. Thanks, Jake. I'm not sure where you heard that. I'm not denying it. I'm not saying it's not true. I think that Clash Royale is probably going to head that direction, but it's sort of tailored for that. It's 1v1. It's fast. It doesn't take much time. It's sort of ideal for that type of thing. There's myself and a lot of people in the Clash community want Clash to go that direction. I'm not so sure Supercell does. If they did, we wouldn't have gone a half a year without an event. You know what I mean? Last year there was numerous events, and I've asked them about this. I mean, like, you got why? Come on, people want it, people like it, and I hope in the future there will be more. But I don't know. To answer your question, I simply don't know. I think Clash could be very successful in that arena. With obviously a new game mode that's a little bit quicker. I don't think people are going to watch a 24-hour war. But just look at like when WHF and OneHive are warring, or just even any of our arranged wars. Usually, I have around 1,000 people towards the end of the war. 7, 8, 900 people. When it was WHF and us, between Powerbang and myself, it was over 2,000 people watching that war, and that's not promoted by Supercell. That's just people in the know, people that enjoy that stuff. So it's pretty crazy. I think there's a lot of potential there. All we can do is hope. All we can do is hope. And I promise I do suggest that type of stuff to them. So we'll see. And the last one today is from Casey Blaylock. Coffee Class question. When the recruiting team looks through applications, what do they look for when they are recruiting? I assume good heroes, good defense, but I know there's a lot of applications with good heroes and defense. I guess what I'm asking is, how do you decide who to bring in and who to reject? Yeah, obviously I don't do the recruiting, but that's a great question. People have asked it since the beginning, basically, when it started getting really competitive to get in the clan. You've got to look at like a job interview. You've got to make yourself stand out from the hundreds of other applications they get. I did a video on this. You can actually go back and check it out. I can't remember the name of it, but it's out there. You just look for joining OneHive or something like that. And it is, the people that were doing it at the time basically said, look, if you can fit your application on a postcard or on an index card, it's probably not going to get through. If you don't care about it anymore than that, there's someone else in those hundreds of people that does care, that is writing a freaking essay telling them how bad they want to be part of this clan and the reason why they think they'd be a good fit. So think of it as a job interview, make yourself stand out, and you've got a lot better shot at getting a second look or getting an audition, getting a shot, getting a try. So that's the best advice I can give you guys. All right, there you go, guys. Again, hope you have a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, Jake from OneHive doing my best to help you guys suck less.